So now you're talking to non-executives, people who haven't reached the executive level yet. And I think a lot of your previous answer will apply here, but is there any more guidance that would you give someone in K-Force who's not on the executive team, talented person, and they don't get that visibility a lot of times, you know? Now you're doing a lot to maintain presence and all that, but my point is someone within K-Force or any other organization that is not at the executive level, first of all, how do they prepare themselves to be ready for that opportunity? And what can they do to show people, hey, I'm out here. I want to go there. I'm preparing for it and I want to be considered for it. How do they distinguish themselves? How do they come on Joe Liberatore and the executive team's radar? Hey, what about when they put me in charge of the technology group, Joe? At some point they were at the table and they were like, what about Mike Etor? How does somebody get their name in that what about Susie Jones or Fred Smith's conversation?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I think one of it is, and I've seen this throughout my career, it's patience. People in general are impatient,
Mm,
and you have to have faith and trust. Because if you do all the right things, everything takes care of itself in time. And I often share this. I never looked for one opportunity in K-Force, and I've had a lot of different roles. I've always been tapped on the shoulder
yeah,
and asked to take on something else, to go create something. I was never looking to become CEO. I mean, it just evolved that way because
yeah,
I just come from the school of focus on what your responsibility is and be the best at possible at doing what you are tasked in doing within the firm. If you do that, everything else usually takes care of itself. And the other thing is, so performance is a big piece of it. Performance is measured in a lot of different ways, but you have to be a performer because you don't deserve taking on more if you're not performing in what you're already tasked with. And I that could go as deep as you want within the firm. And the next is involvement. Are you always raising your hand to get involved in other things? There's always different special projects that are going on or groups that were being formed to explore this or to work on this. Are you the person who's raising their hand saying, hey, what can I do to help? I realize that I'm not getting paid to do this. Okay, I'm still gonna have to be responsible for my day job, but I want to get involved in those things because I want to grow and I want to learn and I want to have experiences. So, who's looking to get involved in those special type of projects? And those are the kind of things that give you visibility within a firm because that gives you different exposure, not just with those up the chain of command, but also across your peers. What are you doing to earn respect of the peer group that you work within, no matter what level you are in the firm? You got to be a go-to person. Do your peers call you to get your insights, input, advice in and around things, or do you never hear from your peers except when you're put in group sessions? Those are things people should be looking at in the mirror and saying, am I really doing everything I can? What value am I bringing to the team to help advance the team? It was one of the things I always looked to do when we bought Source Services back in 1997. And I was one of 8 RVPs in the technology sector after we brought those two organizations together. I was the only one from Romac. All my 7 peers were from Source, the company that we bought. And so
yeah,
what did I look to do? It's like, how do I differentiate myself from this population? I was always raising my hand. We were looking to redo our systems and we called it Kobe, which was the system. I was like, I'll come in on weekends. I'll do whatever. I want to be involved with that because I wanted to shape that. And that started to
yeah,
catch, Dave Dunkel's idea. Same thing. When there was a market that opened up, it's like, I'll move there. I mean, I managed
yeah.
Atlanta for a year and a half. I didn't move there, but I was on a plane every Monday morning at 6 a.m. I lived there the whole week and I came home at Friday night on a 6 p.m. flight. So I literally worked in that market for a year and a half. That was very painful on my family and
Yeah.
on everything. But are you willing to take on those real big challenges, right? Because careers aren't just this linear thing that just happens. I mean, they're more like somebody had said this a while back. They're like a jungle gym. They kind of move around. And whenever you can take on something new, take it on because you're going to grow and you're going to develop from it versus saying, well, I don't want that job because this is the only job that I'm really interested in. Then you're limiting your career because the more diversity that one has, the more exposure, getting involved in things that are outside your domain make you a better leader.